Hello everybody, Alzamir here with another video, and in this one we are going to be going over some comments and things that have been going on with Elder Scrolls Online. And this particular post is about the hero engine that ESO is made on, and just this comment that the community manager Kevin made, and I think it was really important to pass on the information, and just because not everyone's on the forum. So let's just dive right into it. So first off, I want to give a little background on this forum post, which I have been a part of. This forum thread is about the hero engine, and it's about content layout and consoles, and the fact that the game is still on old consoles and things like that. And Kevin chimed in here with just wanted to chime in here. Didn't know he said that. Yeah, an engine swap is not likely. Like, people were asking for, why don't you put Elder Scrolls Online on another engine? I mean, that's a pretty good question. I mean, what having not being a game dev ever in my life, obviously, and probably won't be at this point. But I didn't, I don't understand certain things. So he lets us know. That literally requires building ESO as a new game from the ground up. So that likely is not going to be the case. Halo going to Unreal does not mean that Halo Infinite is being ported to Unreal. It means that future Halo titles will be made using Unreal, which makes sense. However, that does not mean there are not things we can do to enhance visual quality with our current engine. We have passed this feedback to the team from various threads to see how we can tackle this problem in game, so the team is aware. So that's really good. I will say that hiring Kevin was an absolute godsend by ZeniMax, because he is so active on the forums, and he chimes in on a lot of different threads, and I personally like that. Additionally, the engine is not responsible for content output. Every engine has things it can and cannot do. However, content wise, our current cadence, as some have already mentioned, was adjusting to player feedback from a few years ago. And yes, for those people sitting there going, what do you mean content a few years ago? I didn't ask for that. There was. As someone who is probably way too active on the forums, there was an outlash a few years like, man, you guys have so many bugs. I believe it was around High Isle. You guys have so many bugs in your game. Blah, 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 blah. You need to just do a content like a bug fixing year. I think it was even before High Isle, actually. It might date back all the way to Greymore. And it's been a pretty big thing on the forums that they should reduce content and fix the bugs, then go back to more content. However, then he goes on after. However, we are hearing different feedback now, and have been passing that along to the powers to be. Now, the reason why it's taken them so long to make the adjustments to less content and more bug fixes, he explains right here. One thing to keep in mind is that shifting content cadence is not easy, because we are working on content as far out as 18 to 24 months. So shifting things causes all kinds of hurdles. But we hear the feedback about content and are not taking it lightly. We have passed it on. Any other updates are not for me to share right now. Now, that's very true. I remember, I think it was the Necrom year, so that was what, 2023. Rich did an interview, and he had actually mentioned that they had things planned out all the way to 2026. And I think that tells me that's the reason why Necrom's story was probably, although I did really like the Necrom story, and I still haven't done Westfield, which is why you guys haven't seen you know, a Westfield in terms of like end of year, like how was the story of the year kind of thing. That's the way that the Athelia story was probably a little weird, because it probably was initially a year long story that they said, well, we need to break this up because of feedback. What do we do? Well, easiest thing to do is boom, at like XYZ, and that's what we ended up with. Now, something to also say, like, somebody had shared a video up here. I'm not gonna say their name, but this is a video that someone else commented on, but they had showed about Matt Farrar. You see Necrom in the background. He's talking about old consoles. Let's see if we can get.
But are there any challenges being on like specifically last gen PS4, Xbox One? Like, how long do you guys plan to continue to support those platforms? I would hope for as long as you technologically can.
Yeah, the question is as long as we can. Like I answered in the question about adding new characters, we're really limited at what we can do, adding new playable classes because of the memory size requirements for new classes as opposed to how much memory we have to play with on those devices. And you have to remember, Xbox One and PS4 were launched in like 2014.
Yeah.
Like if you had a 2014 laptop right now, it would not be a good experience playing ESO. It would probably run, but think of it that way. So as long as it supports what we want to do with the game and how we want the game to look, we'll keep doing it. But it'll happen eventually.
I think that that's very telling what he said, because he said we'll keep doing it as long as people are playing. That's pretty much what they all say, even Rich. But to me, it is holding them back. He said it himself that they can't do certain things. How much of that memory, because they were able to go through with the hardware changes and software changes, things that they did, they were able to free up a ton of memory, which gave us things like the Arcanist class, like scribing, that we have now. And they're able to now do certain things, but you got to look back and think, okay, so how much of that memory was just taken up by that now? What is next year's chapter going to even look like if you guys are still not moving on from Xbox, from the old consoles? I do think that while the current engine is really not to blame for any sort of issues, I really think I really think the older consoles are really holding us back, because he said it. That he said that they are. So whether or not people are playing, you know, on those, I think you have to do like a pros and cons. Like, yes, you would lose players by getting away from the old consoles, but also how many would you gain, because now you have so much more memory, you can do a lot more things, you can have more housing slots, you can have, like better animations, you can have basic, maybe even a better combat, you can have now more classes, maybe another playable race. You can make new areas and new zones a lot more unique versus just you reusing old assets. Like, how many people would you gain because of that, versus how many you lost with the old consoles? So I get it. Plus, I guess from a business standpoint, you guys got to keep in mind a lot of these things are even above probably Matt Ferror's head. These are probably contracts written and signed by the parent company, ZeniMax Media, which is not the same company as ZeniMax Online. Think of it this way: it's like the way the structure goes is Microsoft is the big guy. Then I think it goes down to ZeniMax Media. Then it spreads out to all the different game studios, IT Software, Bethesda Game Studios, ZeniMax Online Studio, blah blah blah, and Arcane Studio, blah blah blah. That's how it kind of goes. So, what if ZeniMax Online Studios signed or ZeniMax Media signed a contract with Sony and Microsoft, with Xbox and PlayStation, about we're going to release content on this console for X amount of days, or until you guys do end of life, until Sony and Microsoft move on from their support. So that's probably what's happening, I think. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Just a quick little that it's not an engine swap is not likely, and it's not really the engine that's the problem. It's they reduced content because we asked for it, and we did. Now we're asking for a boost in content, which I'm probably guessing is probably going to happen 2026, maybe. I would say maybe 2025 if they can adjust how they're doing it, but I would say 2026 year will probably have more content. Um, so I'll be looking forward to seeing that. I am curious where they're going to go next year. It's another celebration year, so I don't know. It could be like a nostalgic year. I've been waiting for Winterhold for a long time, but I'm not holding my breath, because I would rather them do Winterhold closer to the way my brain has it. I would rather them do that when they have more memory. That way they can do new structures and stuff like that. They have a lot more power. But anyway, so that's it for this video, everybody. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content and want to see more. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.